and I'm with Healers and Seekers, the group, and I've had a little bit of technical difficulties tonight, but that's okay. We have figured it out. I'm here with Michael Wright, and I'm really excited to talk to him. Thank you for being here, Michael.
Thank you.
Yes. So I know Michael through my fiance, Steve, and every time I talk to him, he's just full of information about astrology, and I've been really excited about having this conversation. He's done a natal chart on me, and it was very, very accurate, and he's just full of information about the planets, and it just spews out of him. So it's really cool to talk with you. So I was really excited to have you on my little page, my group. So thank you.
Well, thank you for creating your group. It's been really wonderful to see everybody popping in there and what they're doing and what they can share. It's really, I've connected with a couple people, and I'll give a shout out to them a little bit later, but thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for doing that. It's been wonderful.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. So, Michael is an astrologer. He's also a holistic healer. So, tell us a little bit about what you do.
So, I work on people through their daily health habits, routines, and this is an inspiration. I'll tell you a little weird story,
Yes.
a little synchronicity that led me to this, and it kept bothering me. I'll go ahead and get right to it. I kept seeing the number 77, 77, 77, 77. You've seen 333 or 444.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I was seeing all the synchronicities, and this shows us that our mind is starting to open up to these divine flows. So we recognize patterns, and we as humans, we are, our super ability is pattern recognition. So that's kind of the basis of astrology is, ancient humans, when their sphere of influence was in a smaller localized area, they used the sun as, the apparent motion of the sun. They knew that there was a cycle every day. The sun rose and then it set. So
right.
These people also notated when a child was born, what time, of the day was it, morning, afternoon, nighttime, and what time of the year. So after accumulating this knowledge over a long period of time, they started to assign, well, not really assign, but they gave a category of 4 different element types with multiple types of archetypes, meaning we have 12 different signs in the zodiac. So there's 3 fire signs, 3 water signs, 3 earth signs, 3 air signs, and those are called triplicity. So they broke these down into quarter segments around this zodiac, and by doing so, they could see people's personality types based upon the time of year they're born. So that's what we understand. Most people understand astrology as their sun sign. The day they were born, there's a snapshot taking of the sky, and from the Earth's point of view, looking upwards. So we look at a 2D chart, and it's backwards. We see east over here, west here, south is up, north is down. So the chart and the planets rotate counterclockwise.
Okay.
Through our houses of experience, 1 through 6, and then 7 through 12, which is our inner development till we have relationships, and then we do our outer development until we reach spirituality. So for me, I came to astrology. It came back into my life through pain, and that's where the number 77 came from. I kept seeing 77, 77, 77, 77, 70. Why? I asked my parents, what happened in 1977? What y'all do? Because I keep seeing, this number. And I asked for 6 months and I couldn't figure it out. And, but I kept looking, and seven's the number of divinity. And it's a divine energy number, and that's about you sensing your extrasensory perception. So how we tune into the things we understand but we don't see, or we feel, we know. How do we just know? When I was younger, I couldn't explain things I knew, but that was some of the frustrating parts of this, is when we're not aware of our psyche and how far along it's developed and at what stage it grows into the next phase. We essentially have 3 phases in life, and the first phase is us developing our physical 3D reality experiences, and this happens up to what's called the Saturn return, and the Saturn return is about 28 to 29 years, and it mirrors. Okay. What's crazy is it mirrors the moon, which travels around the zodiac in 28 to 29 days. So the moon and Saturn have the same cycles as far as traversing each sign, which is, for the moon, it goes through each sign every 2 to 2.5 days. And Saturn goes through each sign 2 to 2.5 years. So what this shows us, the sections of our life and how we develop our psyche. And this is done through our DNA. And science is showing us this. Science is already showing us that there are brain cell-like cells in your heart. So they know, and they can measure your heart chakra is creating waves like brain waves. They're identical. Yeah. They're just a different frequency. So
it's actually even bigger or stronger frequency than the one that comes from our brain.
It's the most powerful one. Our heart chakra is what creates our reality through love and compassion. By when we love something or care enough about something, it creates a space, and then that's when the matter comes into the space. We don't have the matter first to create our dream. We create the space, meaning we want something, and then we really want it badly, and then our emotions line up, and we're like, yes, okay, so I'm physically aligned, I'm emotionally aligned, and I'm mentally aligned. That's when all 7 chakras in your body align, and they all send out this waveform. And suddenly, once you transmit this electromagnetic waveform, you become magnetic yourself. So that's when we get the law of attraction. This energy comes back to us to that area or sphere of influence you've created. I kind of think of it as a chalice, like an emotional cup. But in reality, it's like a bubble or a sphere. So when we create something that we want to experience, it's first, we create in our mind what we want to experience, and then once we get excited about it, our emotions are aligned, then we physically start taking steps to make it happen, right? But once you've done all those things, it literally starts coming to you. We pull the future in towards us, into the present. Most people think about the future as always out in front of them, and they're waiting for the future, for the future to come. They think that they will come into the future, or something will come to them without them creating their own future. So most people get stuck waiting for something to happen, and they never created anything to happen. They're just stuck in
Right.
their mind is literally, the DNA has carved a memory circuit where every day they have the same memory process. So
Yeah.
they can't break out of it. So they repeat the same cycles over and over and over. And astrology shows us this through, it's a massive onion, meaning it has many layers, and each layer you peel one back, it leads to many, many more. So
yeah. So I haven't got into it. It's so deep.
Yeah. So I'm getting pretty technical, but to keep it on the high side is we use astrology as a pattern recognition through where each archetype of our psyche lies, and they call them planets, meaning like the sun, the moon, Venus, Mars, Saturn, Jupiter, Mercury, of course, and all the outer planets. So there's 10 planets that are primarily used in astrology, and these show us different areas and influences. Say for instance, if you had Mars retrograde in your chart, so we went through a Mars retrograde. And what I saw from you is this gave you a chance to release all this old male animus issues that you had.
Oh, right.
So
animus, like animosity?
No, the male animus, meaning
What's that?
this is the masculine part of you. So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Animus for the female, it's anima. So
Okay.
So anima, we have both, each one of us. So the feminine is anima, the masculine's animus. So for you were experiencing this complete rewrite during this retrograde, and it should have almost been a little bit easier for you than everybody else because you were born with that experience. Meaning your DNA had the memory of these retrogrades stored in yourself, and with that was a lot of trauma too, right?
Yeah.
So when Mars retrogrades, it gives us a lot of pent up frustration. But so this allows us to look back and say, what part of the masculine do I need to discard? Meaning the lower masculine qualities like fighting, stealing, looting, like being overly aggressive, sexual assaults. These are all lower masculine qualities. The higher masculine qualities we've all been changed is protecting space, protecting space for the divine feminine, because this is the energy we're coming into is the divine feminine. We're leaving behind these patriarchal, and everybody overuses that word, but it's a structure that was based upon material and spiritual. They were both on the same path, meaning the higher you evolved yourself physically with matter, meaning power through matter, the higher you evolved in the patriarchy structures of spirituality. So this is what's has crumbled because people had to understand that we don't need, our Christ consciousness became aware 2,000 years ago when this prophet person, Jesus, came into our awareness. He represented our heart consciousness. And this is how we create our reality. And this was what was shown to us, that we heal ourselves, we create our reality, and we are timeless beings. So when we love and compassion, we live in the highest, form of joy and bliss. But it's when we chase the material 3D, like ego-based desires, that's when we get stuck. And we get trapped because our ego is never satisfied. And
Yeah.
the ego in astrology is represented by the sun. So wherever
Oh,
the sun in your chart, that's how your ego gets its vitality to express itself. So,
okay.
so for me, I'm a Pisces sun, and so I love talking. Spirituality is like, I love swimming in that sea. It's just,
Yeah, me too.
yeah, it's super comfortable. And
Yeah.
in fact, we don't want to come back down into reality because
Right.
it's so dense and heavy, and it's like that's for the Virgos. Virgos love the dense reality. They like the details and the
Right.
analyzing. But um, so this shows us, astrology is used for many, many, many things. I can use it to predict. If you had a question for me, I can do what's called a horary chart, and that is a chart. When you ask the question, at the moment of the question, it creates a chart. And then these planets will show us through our intuition the answer to your question. So that's one use. The other use is um, mastering your emotions. And this is how we master our reality. So when you understand your emotions will change every 2.5 days, you oh, wow, really? That's why I'm feeling that way. Before it's like, God, this sucks. Why am I in this situation?
Yeah.
I shouldn't be. It's I've done everything right. I worked hard. I sacrificed. I saved money. I did this, that. But all of a sudden, this challenge hits me that triggers something in me that I needed to bring up that was stored in my karmic memory, aka in my DNA. So your parents, their parents, their parents, their parents, all the way back to the very beginning, your DNA has recorded their memories. Okay? So
Yeah.
we stack memories. That's how we elevate ourselves. So time is not linear like most people see it. Yeah, they see it playing out in a line like this, but no,
Right.
time is circular. We just go around in circles, and then
Ah.
but what we comprehend as objective time is this stacking of memory or sin, karma, experience, however you want to. Those four are all the
Yeah.
same: sin, memory, karma, experience. So
Okay.
when you have a pain in your body, that's simply just the memory of a past experience stored in the
Hmm.
DNA cell. So most people, we were taught all our memories stored in our mind, in our brain, right? Like right between here, but it's not. It's stored in, if you had something damage your knee, the DNA cells in your knee has stored that memory of the pain. So and through conscious effort, we can rewrite that DNA and release the pain. So that's when you were taught to sit in your feelings, right? Like, I got to experience my feelings. Well, what that does is our emotions, feelings show us our pain, where it's stored, and you'll feel it, whatever chakra it's in. And once you recognize that pain and what it is, and then you do the deep psychological awareness, and we use astrology for that. The chart will show you, the chart shows you your wounds. The chart shows,
Really?
yeah, the chart shows you the fears you have to face. And
Wow.
so it's really, really accurate. And so we can use astrology, to chart your physical, mental, and emotional growth and the stages of life, so you can be prepared. Because most people, when you hit 35, this is the part of our life where we start to get severe challenges leading up to our midlife crisis at about 42. So,
Okay. Oh, I've already had it. Woo.
yeah. Well, so good news, bad news. You've been through this midlife crisis section, but you're coming into the spiritual crisis now, which is Chiron's return. And
Okay.
so that happens about age 50.
Oh,
So
okay.
Chiron is in our chart. it looks like a little key. It has a circle with a straight up and then a little K. It looks like a K almost. But Chiron is what was discovered in 1977. So, so I have Chiron in my 6th house, which is the house of daily service, work, health, service to others. So my wound was in this daily work life, and so Chiron is the wounded healer in mythology. It was part horse, part man. So it showed us that, and the reproductive organs were in the animal, the horse part, but the intelligence was in the man. So the old Greek mythology showed us that we are both. We're animal, we're human, and we're beings. So the struggle is why we're wounded is we have to resolve the fact that we're both in this reality. So we all want to go back to unity. I'm pointing up, but it's literally all directions. So we're seeking to leave this duality structure, meaning a fight between polarities, a fight between masculine, feminine, a fight between inward, outward. So this is, and this
light, dark.
Yeah, the lightness and the darkness, and this shows up in our body. You know, we have our left brain is logic. So when we're sitting in our left brain space, we're in a Saturn structure. So it's very structured. It's cold. It's like the law says, you go over 55, I'm gonna write you a ticket. Boom. You can't even do 56. You know, that's Saturn. Like, you break the rules, I'm gonna come down hard on you. But Saturn teaches us boundaries are important. You know, building a strong foundation is important if you're gonna soar really, really high. Like if you're gonna build big structures, you better have a very solid foundation. Or if you ever seen in tarot, the Tower card, Tower is crashing down because the structure of the foundation wasn't strong enough for that particular cycle. So we go out and we look and see where the planets are in the skies, and the ancients, they carved up the sky into 12 segments of 30 degrees each. And each 30 degrees is broken down into 10 degree segments. So you could be, I could be a Pisces, and say you were a Pisces as well, but you were born in a different 10 degree segment. Your personality, your personality's almost completely different than mine, but we'll have overlap of, you know, we like art and free flowing and creativity, but there's different focuses because we're peeling that layer down to another level. So the nice thing is everything in our 3D reality is patterns, just repetitive patterns. So when you can tap in and understand patterns, and we just observe nature. So right now we went through the fall, and this is us letting go of the old parts of us where we grew our leaves, we grew our experiences, but those experiences are done. You know, they played out. Like so if we hold on to those, it's dead energy. So this is stuff we have to prune out of our lives and thank the experience. It's served its purpose to help your psyche grow into its real soul purpose. And that's what these 3 phases of life are, for us to grow into our soul purpose in this reality. And that is it can be many things. It just depends. I mean, everybody has a different path, purpose. Some people might stay asleep their whole lives, and they just want to experience the lowest form of 3D reality, and that's what they chose. So, and that's perfectly fine. But so I'm talking a lot, and if I've overwhelmed you.
No, you're good. I did want to go back to the 3 phases. You said the first one was like until you were 18 years old, or 20s.
Well, think about three separate games in our life, and each game has 4 quarters. Okay, so each quarter of our life is about 7 years. So when you're 7, you move in. You're leaving childhood behind. You're going into a more adult-based world. So by the time you're 14, 15, now you've left your preteen, teen transition. You're leaving behind that child stage, and now we go out and we start to experience higher forms of physical interactions. So we start to recognize the female. We start to recognize the male, and we're attracted. Oh, whoa! Or some people have male or female. It's you start to recognize these attractions, and then they grow, and the attractions are for us to. When we become attractive like that, we get experiences come to us. And this is what is based upon memories we have in our DNA. So as our DNA is activated by this electromagnetic growth spurts or whatever, pre-program, who knows? I mean, it's, divine, it's so mind-boggling to even imagine how complex it is. We're literally looking at fabrics interwoven in 12 different dimensions, and with threads being pulled out and added at every second, every micro, all the time. So this big huge tapestry we live in called the universe is constantly like fluctuating, but it still stays on this expansive course, and that's called evolution. We all change, so when we recognize how to change in tune with patterns, seasons, then you start to avoid these huge polarity issues, meaning I have to have such an extreme experience to wake me up before I kill myself. And a lot of people do. They didn't understand that they can balance these things in their lives, just in their psyche, through awareness of what's going on, which is you are an electrical, our whole body, all we are is one big energetic, like a battery. We're like this energetic being, but this energy is constantly being triggered, for various things to get us moving, to get, for us to rest, for our mind to operate, for reproduction, to go out and fight for what we want. But most of these archetypes, like the extreme masculine and feminine, this is what we're leaving behind in this new age of Aquarius. We're going to be consciously using our left brain and our right brain. So this means we don't react to experiences that come into our reality. We sit there and we respond, meaning we don't allow this energy to take us and pull us off our self-centered. Meaning when we're grounded in our whole self, left, right, masculine, feminine, animal, divine being, we're sitting there in this nice, perfect sphere of influence, then energy can't come in that bubble. Your sphere of influence, it can't penetrate that.
Are we in the new age of Aquarius now, or what?
The doors are open.
Okay.
We've come through. We were all like this last eclipse and the full moon before
Is that a
that.
new life cycle or like a new cycle?
So on December 21st, when Jupiter and Saturn conjunct, and you can see those two planets in the sky right now in the southwest. You will see these two come together, and then this is the ending of the old, and then the beginning of the new. So it'll take us a while to understand what is the new. But
Right.
we're done. We're done with every major challenge we've had to get us to this point. But our mind has our mental process and our feminine and our masculine has all been rewritten. So we don't know our new self yet.
Oh.
We're just now kind of like, getting our feet wet. We're like a little baby, looking around like, okay, what's going on? I'm still like, I don't feel any of the fear emotions anymore. Those have all pretty much washed away. And if
I'm
something,
working on that.
yeah, if something triggers that fear in you, then you're still holding on to some part of that old personality, your old one.
Uh-huh.
And we don't need that old personality type in this new energetic place we're going. So
Right.
the personality you conditioned and your parents conditioned and your school and your communities and everybody, they made
Yeah.
they made Lynette who she was,
Uh-huh.
basket case, whack job, superstar, whatever terms we all put on ourselves.
Right.
That's the personality we developed, and it was based upon our conditioning and the place in evolution where we were coming to this gate right now. We had to all experience that stuff so we can
Right.
say, okay, we had that experience in our collective human consciousness. Now we don't have to desire that stuff anymore. We can say that reaching a state of happiness, joy, and bliss every day is much, much greater than chasing an ego desire that creates more karmic cycles. And do
Yes.
you know what a karmic cycle is?
Well, I know. Do you mean is there like a certain amount of years, or I mean I know what it means as far as just
So right. So a karmic cycle is literally your memory being triggered by an event that is showing you something, pain, or a memory that you need to release to let go of that old personality. And then you can move forward. Otherwise, you're going to have the same karmic experience again. And it gets harder. And it gets harder and harder. So when we consciously are aware of these challenges coming at us, through knowing these transits based upon astrology, then we can be more prepared. So when all these crises hit us, we're like, okay, these are just storm waves coming at us. Instead of letting it overwhelm us and bury us, we can say, we're going to be fine. We're going to survive this. We're going to actually come out better and thrive. So this is the experience we've all been through for the last, it really ramped up since December of 2017. And what's happened in astrology, when you look at the circle, the lower half of the circle is our internal life, how we develop our internal thinking. And then the upper part of the circle is how we relate to others and our place out in the world, our gifts to the world, how we relate, and who are our friends and groups, and how do we find our bliss in this world.
Right.
So this is more and more people are going to become consciously aware of these tools to help them not go through these horrible pain trauma that we did asleep.
Yeah.
I mean, all that pain you've been going through and letting go of, it was because you were asleep the whole time. Nobody told you or had an awareness of your body goes, it's like anything on the earth. A seed is planted and then it sprouts and it's challenged at that stage. If it makes it past, then it starts to grow and add leaves or experiences, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger until it starts to bear fruit.
Right.
And then, so somebody could come along and pluck our fruit before it's ready, and it causes us a painful trauma because we're like, they took something from me.
Right.
And your little psyche awareness was like, this is my whole life. And in reality, it was just a small experience, even though it seems like massive. And so we have to deal with our own personal experiences, and we have to deal with the collective experiences that we've all created in this reality as a whole. So the whole world was funneled into this tiny, birth canals, I guess the best way to call it. And the last two full moons, with this past one being an eclipse, and that was last Monday. And so that,
I didn't even know that.
yeah, that I felt by Tuesday, Wednesday, I had a screaming headache, and I felt like I was completely hungover, and I don't drink or any of that, so it was like it was all this old karmic memory in your body basically being flushed down, gone, washed away.
Wow.
So when you forgive yourself and open up this compassion and saying, I will find the love I was really seeking inside myself by sharing my love with others, both physically, emotionally, and mentally. Now that I've evolved up this 3 experiences. So what's going to happen to pretty much everybody in our reality is they're going to be forced through this, some people call it Kundalini awakening. So we have this root ball of energy stored in the bottom chakra, our root chakra, and it's right at the base of the spine and the coccyx tailbone. And it's this little weird shaped bone, right? So in the DNA in there's this burst of life force. And whenever we experience massive trauma, this comes up to save us. But if you're not prepared and you have a throat block or a heart or even your solar plexus confidence, then it creates horrible pain, ridiculous pain. And then we'll drink alcohol, or we escape, we anesthetize, self-medicate through escapism. And then all we're really doing is delaying our healing.
Yeah.
Because we gotta dig down like a surgeon. We gotta cut open to get down.
And you have to deal with it. You can't ignore it. It's not going to disappear.
Yeah, and it's ugly. It's like, whoa, really? I didn't think I was that But we all have this deep, dark, traumas that were carried in our psyche from, collective experiences. So this whole virus thing we've been going through was for us to face our fear from the Great Plague, which happened in the 1500s, when this conjunction happened between Pluto and Saturn in the sign of Capricorn, where it happened now, back in January. So this triggered the memory of our fear. So God, universe, spirit wanted us to acknowledge this past wound and say, you must face your fear and believe in this divinity, and then you will escape that physical 3D, these 3D heavy forms that hold your physical self into that ugly, ugly reality, which is death, sickness, pain, misery, fear, all
Right.
that low vibe crap. So
Right.
the
Well,
virus,
just like all the just talking about how we need to face the fears of that. I mean, that just makes me think of all of the how all the racism is kind of coming to the forefront,
and
and
yeah,
we thought we put that away, but apparently we haven't,
so
and now
that's
it's
a
coming to the surface.
yeah, that's a great point. Is we all had, black and white, all had a tremendous amount of fear still stored in our DNA, because
Yeah.
we made peace with this old, but we never faced the fears left behind.
Yeah.
So this is what was brought into our conscious awareness, that we all need to let go of the fears of racism to heal. And then we can really move forward. And that's a big, big, big one right now. And but that's only, that's one big piece of the puzzle, but we're dealing with, several others, which is how we govern ourselves in the future, right? And it's about, we we're leaving behind the chasing the physical reality, so we're not going to need people doing physical things, as it's going to be really small, because automation, computers, and robots, and technology, all these things are going to eliminate all that lower 3D reality needs for humans to be interacting in that space. So that leaves those who have knowledge. That's the people who will have the real power in this future world we're coming into. So that's what you've been given in this whole transformation process. We're transforming our old personality into this new space where we can develop a higher mind personality, meaning, like I told you before, we're sitting in a balanced space of.
So, all right. So I've watched a lot of videos on YouTube. A lot of the spiritual influencers are talking about there is, and it sounds like this is what you're saying as well. Like there's kind of like there was like a that we were going through. It was many years. I think it was like at least 30 years. It was like a span of where we were, and it sounds like we were going through more physical stuff, and it's like a cycle that has ended. And 2020, would you say that we're at 2020? All this stuff, obviously this has been, according to some people, it's been a shit show. But a lot of stuff has happened this year, and it feels kind of like we're ending a cycle. What is your take on that?
So if you were to look at a farmer and a field from last year, you'll see the old crop like had been cut down, and there's some maybe just old leftover detritus, whatever, and that over the winter it all just kind of rots. And then in the springtime, the farmer comes through and he plows up the field, and the earth is turned over. So this, and the old life is, that energy's gone. So whatever was left over is tilled back into the earth. So that energy is sent back into the earth space. So once it's plowed over, then we can plant new seeds. So we as humanity, we have plowed the field of the age of Pisces. So for the last 2,000 years, this is the cycle we're ending. And it
was 2,000, not 30. It feels like a lot of years. More than 30.
Well, there's actually 4 major cycles we ended. It's super big one. The Jupiter, Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn, and then Saturn, Pluto. So those all these are major. These are the
Jupiter. There are lots of cycles ending at once.
So that's why this was so intense, and that's like this was to prepare those who are ready to help others come into the new world. So
Okay.
it was like a crucible, meaning we poured everybody into this big molten area, and we were all like, melted and burned, and and then the liquid form, and then we were poured into this new mold. So
Okay, talk about the new world. I've heard the talk about it, and it makes sense to me. But what's your take on it? Talk about the new world to people that maybe have not heard about it.
Sure. So we're gonna be focused more on humanities. So truly carrying space for those who can evolve, that have been held back for a long time. Call it systemic or whatever you want to call it, but most of humanity's been trapped in these, tribal identities, and so we're going to leave behind localized identities, but we are going to come back into localized tribes again, but not in an ego identity basis. So this is activating this energy where we can still sit in the 3D reality, but our minds are going to be primarily in the 4D and 5D space, meaning we can sit in bliss anytime we want, and then if we have to come back into 3D reality, we got to pay bills, whatever, and then that stuff will be trivial. But and then the next stage, some people even skip that 4D stage, which is just spiritual bliss, and they'll go right to the fifth dimension, which is where time is, meaninless. So we can sit in, the past, present, or future all at once.
Well, so when is this supposed to be happening? When is this happening?
Well, the good news is most of it already did. So,
okay, good.
So on the Great Conjunction is happening on December 21st, and this is the winter solstice. That's a key big thing, and then it's happening at 0 degrees of Aquarius. So on the astrology chart, 0 degrees is an important degrees because it's the beginning of a new experience.
Oh yes.
But we left 29 degrees of Capricorn, that's called an anaretic degree, meaning it's super important too. So we're finishing up the old. So we finished the old and we're starting the new. So January and February will be pretty rough for a lot of people.
Lovely.
Not for you. You'll be riding this high wave. You'll be up here. The people who
I'm not worried.
people who were asleep to this reality, they're the ones that are going to be when the wave crashes, which literally can happen today. We're gonna when Sun squares Neptune, which it's within a minute or two right now. So this will show us all the gaslighting and the illusions that's happened to us will be done. It'll be exposed. So
gaslighting from just like a political kind of thing, or in media and all that.
We're gonna see some serious wild truths, and it's even bigger than that. This is big. That's definitely a part of it, but this is even bigger. So
wow.
We just left a fated moment in time here recently, and we have a couple little we're getting ready to roll out the red carpet Monday. So this through Sunday it's gonna be wild. Like Friday the 11th is the day of integration, and this will be our first kind of test of this new personality. And you'll be like, some people will be like, okay, I embrace that. I'm going this way, no doubt. Other people will be like, holy shit. I'm out of here. I don't want anything to do with that. And then
Yeah.
they're going to be, it's going to be ugly for them. And that's where we'll come in. And
Yeah. So that's a great point. So what I feel like from everything you said, I feel like there's something that people need to embrace to feel at peace with all these new changes that are coming up. What do you have any kind of tips or advice for people that might be having a tough time?
so the very first thing you should be comforted in knowing is you're okay.
Yeah.
Everybody that doesn't go to the dark side will be just fine. Number one, you're loved. We're here to experience joy and bliss. We really are, and we have the free will to get to there any way we want. However, we do have a destination, and
Uh-huh.
this was shown. Our destination was shown to us when we were born. So
Huh.
that's the birth. Our birth chart is like our treasure map through life, and this
Oh.
this can help us understand the pitfalls, the alligator pits, the prisons, all the dark shit we have to go through. We can recognize it for what it is, and that's just simply to challenge your psyche in all these heart chakras to come in online and open up so that you can be the divine being you really are. And that's where, when we enter this age of Aquarius, you are creating your reality every day, and you can write a new one every day.
Yes.
And if as long as we hold space for our freedom and the pursuit of liberty and happiness, if we lose that in this battle that's happening right now between the dark and the light, if we lose that, then they want to use AI to tell you what to do. They want to use artificial means.
Right.
So when they do that, and they want to control your DNA too. So that's the dark side. So
who's they?
the power structure that wants to control this reality.
Okay, gotcha.
And that is, if you want to name it, governments, old monarchies, banking systems, just huge old power structures, and they are fighting to hold on, and they've known this knowledge for thousands of years. So they're using this awakening against us right now. But it's part of the process of this extreme fear and trials and crucible for your soul to come out and evolve into its happiness. And everybody will. Everybody will. I have 100% confidence in that. Unless you want to kill your ego self so bad that you murder your physical self. And that's to me is, I've been through enough pain where I probably, most people would have thought of doing that. And but it's the pain that leads us to our awareness. And pain is what sets you on this path of awakening and understanding who you really, really are. So we wear several masks, right? Not just this one, but we wear a mask. Like you have your identity, I have my identity, but these are the things that are changing. But we still have an internal mask, we have an external mask, and then we have a mask we show to the world. That's three different personalities. And we actually we can draw on many personalities, because each area of our life is flavored by a different theme. And that's when we balance all these and we learn to control our emotions, this is when we step into our real power. So you're taking chaos, and you're channeling it into something constructive. So you know sometimes you can't avoid a painful experience, but with understanding and the knowledge of what's really happening, you're not going to damage your psyche and be stuck in these endless loops of, pity, sorrow, misery, fear, being trapped in your lower chakra centers. So for us to really, really heal, we had to experience this ridiculous pain. All of us, some of our pain was mental, some were physical, some were emotional, some were all three. Some of us are like really shit shows, We're like, wait, but everybody here they have the opportunity to experience their best self and grow, and then, go back to this unified source of energy where you feel right back at home. So we're trying to elevate ourselves from this duality, and this massive, duality is what causes us growth, because if we're all equal, it's a flat, stagnant plane. Equality is stagnation, meaning there's no energy coming in or no energy going out or nothing challenging that. So it stagnates and dies way faster.
So, and if we all we see is light all the time, then we wouldn't even, or how are we going to know what light is without the dark?
That's right. And we
need the duality.
And that's why we have an alter ego, right? This is the part of our personality, like maybe I go into a store and I'm like, I don't have money, but I want that item, and I just stick it in my pocket.
Right.
Because I could. Nobody's watching, and I just took it. Yeah. That was my power. But that was the part of me that I wouldn't tell anybody about, because they'd be like, you're a thief. That's wrong. Why would you take somebody else's property? But my alter ego said, I wanted it. I'm there. I took it. So I have to recognize that is part of my personality, to be whole. And some people name that shadow side of ourselves, but we must acknowledge the dark side of ourselves.
Yes.
To be whole.
Sorry, I just want to talk about that real quick, because I've been hearing a lot of talk about that as well. They're called. I've been hearing 2020, the year of clear sight, and it's been coming up for me a lot, just the dark coming to the light and being given the opportunity to look at these ugly parts of ourselves that we don't want to look at. So it does. It seems like everything that we don't want to look at, and we just for years we've been pushing it away. Now it's like, we have to look at it now. So we can
nobody's escaping it this time. No more burying it, no more pushing it. It's that's the stuff that's blown up in your face this year. If you buried any pain, fear, trauma stuff, it's coming up no matter what. And some people thought they escaped this, and through this weekend, it's gonna be like their world's gonna go whoop. their understanding's gonna go whoa, because they thought they had what their ego desired. Okay, and the devil, Saturn is Satan, devil, whatever you want to call it. This is what changes everything. It's karma. It's time. Time dissolves everything. Time just tears it down. So, but if we elevate our conscious awareness and our physical, mental, and emotional body, then we can transcend time, and that's fifth dimension. So this is as far as our whole Earth reality. We're all trying to come up to the collective consciousness of the universe. And that's why the Earth is in a protected space. We're protected here on Earth as like a garden. I call it in the garden. And so that's the other reason you really shouldn't have these, super fears. We're fine. We're all good. We're all protected. We were created, but people are like, well, why would God kill my best friend? Or why would I experience this horrible sexual assault or trauma or car wreck and my daughter died?
Why this play,
yeah,
why,
or
yeah.
whatever. But this was for us to wash that out of our karmic memory. So when we elevate, we're vibrating higher into this next level of awareness. We can't have those things holding us down, because you'll feel it in your body when your body starts vibrating higher. You'll still feel those old little pains, because they're a negative charge blocking the flow of the energy. The energy gets reflected back. Instead of flowing, some of it flows, but some of it gets scattered back, and that's a detrimental negative. That's why you feel that pain coming up. And when you do that, your mind goes right back into the magnetic state of attracting more.
Yeah.
More, yay. I remember when I was in my late 20s, I knew the patterning, the times, like studying numerology, you could see patterns, but I never tied it to the transits of the planets, which astrology shows us. So the planets trigger some kind of electromagnetic memory in our DNA, and this is how our experiences come into our conscious awareness. So if you understand fundamentally that it is you who create your reality, you attract everything into it, positive or negative. This is where you can transcend and transmute all experiences into this bliss state. So
nice. Yeah, I'm glad you talked about fear. That's been coming up for me a lot lately. I have noticed myself working really hard to show it for the illusion that it is, and stop relying on that. It almost, for me, I notice it in a lot of other people, that it almost it's like an addiction. It's like you've seen your parents resort to fear as a way to push them to action, and then that's the coping mechanism you use. So it's like it's just been passed on, like you were saying, and we think that we need this fear, but yes, of course we have our healthy fears, but I'm realizing we really don't need it. It's not. It just keeps us in a state of worry and frantic and low vibration.
Right. That's true, and this is what we have to leave behind, because your cells can't vibrate higher when it's stuck in that heavy, dense matter.
Yeah.
And emotions.
Yes. So you mentioned a little bit about 2021. You said January and February are probably going to suck.
For some it'll suck. For others, it's like, here we go, the party's starting.
So, what do we have to look? What do you feel like is coming in 2021? As far as after, obviously we're getting rid of some old stuff. So
sure,
we're coming into a new cycle.
So I see us, science and technology obviously is massive, but Saturn's gonna challenge technology, because technology has stolen a lot of things from us, because they gave us technology freely, and we all sucked on the nipple, till we became addicted to it.
Right.
Now we've become consciously aware of what they've actually done to us. They know more about you and your habits than you do, and they can predict it. And if AI got your astrology chart and they looked at all your history and everything you posted on emails since the beginning of the internet, they can access all of that. It's stored. So they can recreate your past, present, and future, and then control you through that, because they're going to market stuff to you that you can't resist.
Right.
Think about that. That's crazy. So we have to elevate our own consciousness above this artificial level that was created. And I think for me personally, I feel like it'll be, in a way, easy to defeat the artificial, because one, it doesn't have intuition, emotion, this deep feminine, And this is the energy coming to help us.
Right.
Us all sitting in this feminine space, but we have to, all of us, feminine, females and males, we have to use our divine masculine to protect that space. So we all have to quit attacking each other, taking each other's power. The old power struggles, which is, for me, I might project what I want onto a partner, and I'm taking their power to get my ego desire, right? That's going to be gone. You have to have your whole heart self aligned, and then you can share an amazing experience with any partner, physical, mental, and emotional, without taking or giving too much. Some of us are givers. We give and give and give and give, and guess what? We deep down, we always wanted to be acknowledged and somebody give back to us. But it never happens. It's so few and far between. It would never balance the scale of how much you've given of yourself. But we have to recognize that that's just our projection. And we did it to escape our own understanding, because we were vicariously living through somebody else. And that's what planets will show us. Like, if you have planets in your 7th house of your chart, which is relationships, we want our partners to express that planet instead of us learning the lesson.
Right.
So we're suddenly, what does that make us? That makes us codependent.
Yeah.
Instead of interdependent, where we can shake hands and be stronger.
Yeah, and I've noticed that in relationships too. Usually when it's like I'm putting all the focus on something I want them to do, it's something I need to work on within myself. So yeah.
So we're gonna see, technology continue to evolve, where we're gonna leave more and more of 3D reality. So, like, I was at the mall the other day, Regency Mall, and it was a ghost town. I was like, the apocalypse definitely hit. It was like.
Wow.
This time of year, back when we were younger, the mall would be overwhelmed. So we can definitively see the end of an era.
Yeah, that's true.
It's done. So now the gates have opened, and it's those who are walking through right now, like us, discussing these things. We're going to start to see what's coming up. But the things we need to be aware of is, technology has abused us. So we have to have a revolution and put technology back into a controlled box that humanity, keeps it as a tool versus it overwhelming us. So we will have some type of revolution against science and technology over the next 2.5 years. The tech-based social structures that have been built, swipe right, swipe left, we haven't related as human beings in several years now. It's so rare. We can't even shake hands, maybe an elbow, hey, fist bump, but that is when I can't touch your energetic field and say, okay, I connect. I'm just brushing up against it, so I really don't understand you other than my ESP, my extrasensory perceptions through the 7 chakras. But it's when I physically hug you, touch you, that's when our energies stabilize together, and then we're not challenged against each other.
Yeah.
So
I miss hugs.
So environmental will be a big stuff. We're going to have to become more, use ingenuity in our environments, our localized, our bigger, broader environment. And of course, the earth, the earth kicked out this virus to say, you motherfuckers, you better fucking sharpen up and listen, because if you
bad humans,
right, if you can't keep shitting in this your box, it's it's going to smell for your rest of existence. So we have to clean this up, and we got to love our Mother Earth again. And
Yeah.
so we are going to be also challenged with our freedom versus independence. Yeah, that's going to be a big thing. Humanistic principles. What's wild is there will be new politics. That's going to evolve. The old duality, two-party system is probably going to collapse through this whole process, and that might be this whole flip we see. So yeah, so allegiances shifting. Still, we're going to have a lot of social division through this first part of 2021 still, and then
it's not going to just be like, it's not going to just kind of flip over in a year. You think it's going to take longer?
Yeah, it's like healing from like a broken arm or something. You go through the trauma and you're like, oh, I got this cast and I got to wear it for 6 or 8 weeks, and then by the time 7 weeks have gone, you've healed, and it's easier and easier and easier, and then suddenly the cast comes off and you're okay, I'm healed, and my environment has changed.
Right.
So we will be healed, probably by the eclipse season in the summertime. But this coming Monday is a solar eclipse on the 14th, and this is the universe rolling out the red carpet for the great conjunction that's happening on the 21st. So this is us all gonna feel this. Okay. We've been through the terrible storm. Everybody's seasick, and we're all like, oh my God. Oh. And then you hear the guy up on the top of the ship, land ho, it's up ahead. So we're all going to be like, oh, okay, thank God, we're going to make it. And we've already made it, truth be told. Most of the people who have left us, they have left us. There might be a few. But people I had a friend, she lost her husband right on the day of Jupiter-Pluto conjuncting for the last time. It conjuncted 3 times. So I told myself, I said, if this fellow can make it just past this, he's in the new world and he'll be healed. But his soul literally fought up to the very day because he couldn't walk through that door. But he stayed here to the very minute. And that was amazing to me. And now he's in a bliss state, and he's, just smiling at all of us like, okay, I got to walk up like the train station, and all you guys got on the train.
It's over.
Yeah, it's over. So we're gonna be, we're gonna be great. We really are. So most of these things, it's like, even if you get a cut or a wound, or you popped a zit, and it just takes a little while to heal. And then one day you forget about it, and the next day you look in the mirror and it's suddenly almost disappeared, and then the following day it's gone and you forgot about it, and you're off and running. But hopefully this time, when we come into this new age, we leave chasing the same old karmic cycles behind. But some people will still be stuck in that world, on the karmic wheel, which is the astrology. Astrology is the wheel. It shows us the wheel.
Okay, yeah. And I mean, from what you told me, it seems like the biggest thing is just not resisting it. I mean, it seems almost inevitable that change is happening. And I feel like the people that are going to have the most turbulence with it are the ones that are resisting it.
That's true. Very true. So it's a powerful healing time. And so the more we, come together as groups of people and share our perspectives with each other, and thank you again. You did amazing. We'll heal more and more of us, and then it will snowball. But the good news is, the dark, there was a little tiny minute where we almost went completely in the dark, and we weren't going to come out of it. Wow. Yeah. it was significant, but there was enough people who really believed, and they trusted into this process. And then once they let go, the light started flowing. And then once the light turns on, the darkness has to leave, because that's why I said in the beginning, the dark can only drop their curtain one time. You know, they can't pull it up. Oh, we see behind that, you know, it's dropped, and then it's up for us to poke holes into it, and then the light starts shining. And once it's more and more, then the darkness is like, oh, I tried, bye bye. I'll come back in another 1,000 years and try to, ruin your whole existence. So.
Well, Mike, this has been so enlightening. I feel like I've gone to another dimension just in this conversation.
Yeah, but we did.
We could talk for like ever, because this is just so fascinating. There's so many rabbit holes.
Many. But
so if people want to have a reading with you, get a chart reading, how do they get in contact with you? And I would like to know about your YouTube channel. So
sure,
yes.
Sure. They can find me on Facebook. I'm in the Healer Seeker group, and right now I'll do a brief chart reading for free. I'm offering that.
Nice, thank you.
Just as an awareness, and if somebody wants to dive deeper, then they can feel free to share any gifts they like for the efforts presented. And
cool.
My new focus I've been working on is sharing some videos on YouTube, and my channel is called the Astro Sherpa, Sherpa. So Sherpa being a guide up and down.
I was like, what the heck is a Sherpa? I googled it. I'm like, does it take you through the Himalayas or something?
So yeah, we're climbing up and down the mountain of awareness. So this is
nice.
I'm here to help show people, the paths they can take and the paths to avoid. That's all. Yeah. I'm not, I'm not seeking anything for that. It's just, this is, showing them the way, and then they can take it, do it, whatever they want. And I give as much energy as they want to give into the situation. So it brings me a lot of joy.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much.
So we'll have to do this again after January and February and see how this whole thing played out.
Yes, we'll have to revisit this.
So the good news is I think we're coming into a golden age. So this is art, creation, beauty, love. These will all come up to a higher level that we can't even imagine right now. We can't, and it's going to be wonderful, Yeah. So.
I'm excited. I've been hearing a lot about this for a while, so I'm excited about it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yep.
It's been awesome chatting with you, and we will have to do this again.
All righty. I appreciate it, and I'm going to
thank you everybody for watching.
Yep. Thanks everybody, and check out my channel, the Astro Sherpa. I call it the Random Shit Show, so that kind of reminds me of what's going on in our lives, and then I use astrology to kind of give meaning to what the shit show really is about. So,
cool.
All right. Well, I look forward to hearing from anybody, comments, concerns, questions. I'll do my best to answer anything I can. So, take care, everybody. Wish you the best.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.